Hi Eamon, thanks again for giving us time for the interview now. So the first question I suppose would be, it's another massive weekend for the winless Liverpool and Arsenal. Can Brendan Rodgers secure his first Premier League win, or will Arsenal finally get over their Robin Van Persie hangover?
Well, I think it's a fascinating match. It's the lunchtime match on Sunday. I think Liverpool will be favourites to win it. They really played well against Manchester City. They were very unlucky not to win that match. Now Arsenal have struggled, haven't scored a goal in 2 matches, and I don't think it's going to be a good season for Arsenal. I think they're not going to get over the loss of Van Persie, and don't forget Jack Wilshere is also injured until October, maybe November. So losing Van Persie is a terrible blow for Arsenal, and the players they brought in aren't very good. Giroud was the French player. He's not really good enough. He's not going to score. He's not going to be a success in the Premier League. And Podolski is the other player they brought in. I don't think he'll be a success in the Premier League. So Arsenal are going to struggle. I'd make Liverpool favourites. They played with great energy and commitment. They're far from the finished article. Brendan Rodgers has a lot of work to do there. Doesn't have the money to spend. But I feel in that game I would make Liverpool favourites. If I was forced to have a bet, I'd back Liverpool. I think Arsenal are going to struggle. Still play neat, nice football, but they're not great at the back and they're not going to score goals.
And next would be Swansea's early form has been remarkable and nobody saw it coming. Do they look banker material at home to Sunderland today?
Well, Swansea have made a very good start. 2 wins on the board, no goals conceded, and I think 8 scored. But I saw their match last week against West Ham. They won 3-0. West Ham are a very poor team. I think Swansea, I don't think they'll beat Sunderland. In fact, I think Sunderland have a great chance of beating them. Martin O'Neill's done really well. He's done well in the transfer market. He's always been a great manager, really, top class manager. And I think Swansea will hit the rocks this weekend. So I don't think they will be able to keep their run up. And in fact, in the bet this week, we got our bet up last week, and one of my bets this week is Swansea not to beat Sunderland.
Next would be Aston Villa. Look like they could be sucked into another relegation battle. Are there any other big sides you might think will join them and struggle this season?
Well, I predicted Aston Villa would struggle. I think Paul Lambert is a good manager. He's gone there from Norwich, but he's just having to sell players to balance the books, and he can't. They had a player sent off at the weekend, Kieran Clark, who won't be available. Richard Dunn's injured. Shay Given has been shaky. I think Villa will struggle. I don't think any of the other serious clubs will be involved in a relegation battle, but they are standout material. Southampton, I think, would struggle. I think one of the surprises has been Wigan. Wigan have made a very good start this season, and they're a very good coach, and they're usually down among the dead men, as they say. But Villa have a particular problem with money, and it's a big rebuilding job to do there. I don't expect Villa to go down, but they'll be in the struggle.
Next, Man United's away form let them down last season. They face Southampton on Sunday and are long odds to win. Can you see anything else other than a win for Fergie's men?
Well, United have a lot of problems. Losing Wayne Rooney for 2 months is a huge blow. And Smalling and Jones are also injured, so they've major problems, United. And I wouldn't back them to beat Southampton, but they should. Southampton, though, did really well first day of the season. Went to Manchester City, only lost 3-2, scored 2 goals away from home, so I have to be respected. But I wouldn't have a bet in that match, and I think United's injury crisis is quite severe, but they have enough quality, really. Kigana, the player they bought, is a very good player, and Van Persie, of course. But it places, with Rooney out, it places a lot of pressure and responsibility on Van Persie. But if he stays injury free, he should be well up for handling it. And you would say United, yes, to win, but when you're betting, you need value, and there's no value in backing United in that game, in my opinion.
And Tottenham sold their key man Modric during the week and replaced him with Dembele from Fulham. Was this good business, and can ABB win over the Spurs fans this season, starting at home to Norwich this weekend?
Well, I don't think AVB will win over Spurs fans. I think the club is run by the chairman. I think getting 34 million for Modric was good business because he's nowhere near worth that. He's a good player, but he's not a real top player. So that was good business, but in financial terms, but in terms of the future of Spurs, it's bad business because I don't think his replacement coming from Fulham at Dembele. He's a good player, but he's not quality. He's not the same type of player as Modric. So I guess it's good business, but you want to keep your bank manager happy, or do you want to keep your fans happy? And I don't think Spurs are going to keep their fans happy this year. I think Norwich, you would think, wouldn't have a chance at White Hart Lane, but I wouldn't touch Spurs with a barge pole. For betting purposes, I think I'll wait and see what happens. But he's made other strange decisions, getting rid of Dawson, wanting to get rid of Dawson, who's a big player for the club. So I wouldn't touch them for betting purposes. I think the Spurs will have a disappointing season by their high standards.
And what will be your tips for the weekend?
My tips for the weekend, I think we got a bet up last weekend, and in these times of austerity, I think we are going to make money this year. The first bet is a win double. It's Manchester City to beat QPR at home, and Newcastle to beat Aston Villa. The double comes to evens or thereabouts. So you double your money, which is better than any bank or any share at the moment. So that's a double. I think it's a banker. So, and another bet, 3 draws. We did really well with our draws last year. If you have 3 doubles and a treble, the 3 draws are Wigan and Stoke to be a draw. I think Stoke are a very difficult team to beat. Wigan are playing quite well, and I think Stoke will go there and they'll make it very, very difficult for Wigan. But Wigan are a useful side, so that's my number 1 draw. Swansea Sunderland. That's an interesting match. I don't think Sunderland will lose that match. In fact, I think they have a chance of winning it. But I will go for the draw in that match as well, because Swansea are on form. But so Swansea Sunderland would be my second draw. My third draw is West Brom Everton. They both made really good starts to the season. Everton spectacularly so. But West Brom have done really well. And I would say the West Brom Everton game would also have a very good chance of being a draw. So you've got a double at even money, Manchester City and Newcastle, and the draws then would be Wigan Stoke, West Brom, Everton, and Swansea Sunderland. 3 doubles and a treble. If the treble comes up, you get about 30 to 1. If the double comes up, it's about 10 to 1. So I think we've got to make sure this year we're not greedy, we make money, and we deal with austerity.
Well, Eamon, thank you very much for your time, and we'll be talking to you again next week.